everyone, welcome back to the Worship Cellist. I'm David Feldman, and today we are talking about how to locate and play in a hand orientation on the cello. So, to find and play in a hand orientation on the cello, you need to know three things. First, what key you're playing in. The second thing you need to know is which orientation you've decided to use. Any of them will work. And the third thing you need to know is the step pattern for that orientation, as we discussed in the last video. So let's go through an example. Let's say we're playing in the key of C, and we choose to play in Mi orientation. Since Mi is the third note of the key, I'd place my first finger on E. Next, I need to remember that Mi orientation follows a half-whole step pattern, which means that I'm going to use a 1, 2, 4 finger pattern. So as mentioned in a previous video, I have several options for the note E. For example, I have an E up here. I have an E here. And I have an E here. Notice it's the same three notes. My hand orientation still uses 1, 2, 4, which is a half-whole step pattern. My first finger is still on E, but I have three different octaves to use. Any octave will work. And in the following video, I'll include a little more information on choosing a hand orientation in an octave. That said, I recommend using the D and A strings because it just tends to be easier to cut through the mix and also to hear your intonation. Now let's try another example. Say we're playing in the key of B major and have chosen Do orientation. Since B is Do in this key, I would place my first finger on B. Now, Do orientation uses a whole step pattern, which means I need to use an open hand shape, 1 extended to 4, to play the next two consecutive notes. So if you're still getting familiar with music theory or the cello fingerboard, you might need to look up one or more of these details as you locate a hand orientation. That's why I've included a cheat sheet with all the notes, their corresponding solfege in every key, and a complete diagram of the cello fingerboard in both sharps and flats in the description below. So feel free to use those resources as you need. As you get more comfortable with keys and key signatures in the cello fingerboard, you won't have to look things up nearly as much. The great thing is, once you've found your hand orientation, you won't need to shift at all while playing through a chord chart. I'll explain more on that later. So, as always, if you find this content helpful, remember to like and subscribe. Happy celloing, and see you soon.